Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Suranandana Brajajana Ranjano Jasuranandana Brajajana Ranjano Ramunatira Vanacharya Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jasuranandana Brajajana Ranjano Jasuranandana Brajajana Ranjano Jasuranandana Brajajana Ranjano Jamunatira Vanacharya Jamunatira Vanacharya Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Sri Radha Madhava ki Sri Radha Giridhari Jayo Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraj Sri Srimad is Divine Grace Savai Charanara Vindabhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Jayo Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraj Gajaja Shodara Srimad is Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Grantara srimadbhagavatam ki Jai Sri Dhammadarmasa ki Jai Gaura Premanandi all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, assembled devotees, all glories, assembled devotees, all glories, C.C. Guru and Sri Gauranga from the book. Okay? Go Premanandi. Does anyone need a book? Everyone's good with their devices? Okay. That noise. The construction. So this morning we're reading from the Srimadbhagavatam. It's the 4th canto, 19th chapter, text 36. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, Ebirindra Pasamam Srishtai. Is that right? Pakandad Harabir Janam. Riyamanam Vichakshvainam. Yaste Yagya Drugashvamut. Ebirindra Pasamam Srishtai. Pakandir Haribir Janam. Riyamanam Vichakshvainam. Yaste Yagya Drugashvamut. Ebirindra Pasamam Srishtai. Pakandir Haribir Janam. Hiranyamanam Vichakshvainam. Yaste Yagya Drugashvabut. You would like to chant? Ebirindra Pasamam Srishtai. Pakandar Haribir Janam. Hiranyamanam Vichakshvainam. Yaste Yagyadrugashvamut. Ebirindra Pasamam Srishtai. Pakandar Haribir Janam. Hiranyamanam Vichakshvainam. Yaste Yagya Drugashvamut. Ebirindra Pasamam Srishtai. Pakandir Haribir Janam. Hiranyamanam Vichakshvainam. Yastre Yagra Dugashvamut. Okay, synonyms. Ebihi, by these. Indra, Upasamam Srishtai. Created by the King of Heaven. Indra. Pakandai. Sinful activities. Haribihi. Very attractive to the heart. Janam. The people in general. Hriyamanam, being carried away. Vichakshva, just see. Enam, these. Yaha, one who. Te, your. Yagyadruk, creating a disturbance in the performance of the sacrifice. Ashvamut, who stole the horse. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Who's speaking here? Brahma. Okay. Just see how Indra, the king of heaven, was creating a disturbance in the midst of the sacrifice by stealing the sacrificial horse. These attractive sinful activities he has introduced will be carried out by the people in general. Please repeat. Just see how Indra, the king of heaven, was creating a disturbance in the midst of the sacrifice by stealing the sacrificial horse. These attractive sinful activities he has introduced will be carried out by the people in general. Purport. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 21st verse, Yad yad acharati sheshtas tat tat evataro janaha saya pramanam kurute lokastad anabartate. Whatever action is performed by a great man, common men follow in his footsteps, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. Unquote. For his own sense gratification, King Indra thought to defeat Maharaj Prithu in the performance of 100 horse sacrifices. Consequently, he stole the horse and hid himself amid so many irreligious personalities, taking on the false guise of a sannyasi. Such activities are attractive to the people in general, therefore they are dangerous. Lord Brahma thought that instead of allowing Indra to further introduce such irreligious systems, it would be better to stop the sacrifice. A similar stance was taken by Lord Buddha when people were overly engrossed in the animal sacrifices recommended by Vedic instructions. Lord Buddha had to introduce the religion of non-violence by contradicting the Vedic sacrificial instructions. Actually, in the sacrifices, the slaughtered animals were given a new life, but people without such powers were taking advantage of such Vedic rituals and unnecessarily killing poor animals. Therefore, Lord Buddha had to deny the authority of the Vedas for the time being. One should not perform sacrifices that will induce reversed orders. It is better to stop such sacrifices. As we have repeatedly explained, due to a lack of qualified Brahminical priests in Kali Yuga, it is not possible to perform the ritualistic ceremonies recommended in the Vedas. Consequently, the Shastras instruct us to perform the Sankirtan Yajna. By the Sankirtan sacrifice, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form of Lord Chaitanya will be satisfied and worshipped. The entire purpose of performing sacrifice is to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna is present in his form of Lord Chaitanya. Therefore, people who are intelligent should try to satisfy him by performing Sankirtan Yajna. This is the easiest way to satisfy Lord Vishnu in this age. People should take advantage of the injunctions in different shastras concerning sacrifices in this age and not create unnecessary disturbances during the sinful age of Kali. And the Kali Yuga men all over the world are very expert in opening slaughterhouses for killing animals which they eat. If the old ritualistic ceremonies were observed, people would be encouraged to kill more and more animals. In Calcutta, there are many butcher shops which keep a deity of the goddess of Kali, and the animal eaters think it proper to purchase animal flesh from such shops and hope that they are eating the remnants of food offered to Goddess Kali. They do not know that Goddess Kali never accepts non-vegetarian food because she is the chaste wife of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is also a great Vaishnava and never eats non-vegetarian food, and the Goddess Kali accepts the remnants of food left by Lord Shiva. Therefore, there is no possibility for eating flesh or fish. Such offerings are accepted by the associates of Goddess Kali known as Bhutas, Pisachas, and Rakshasas, and those who take the prasadam of Goddess Kali in the shape of flesh or fish are not actually taking the prasadam left by Goddess Kali, but the food left by the Bhutas and Pisachas. Haribol. Om Agyanti Mirandasya Gananjana Salakaya Jaksudan Minitam Dena Taismai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchikapadru Bhashya Kripa Sindhu Bevaja Paridanam Bhavanibdo Vaishnavibdo Namo Namaha. By your kind words and blessings, I'll try to say a few words. Did you think I wasn't giving class today? Okay, I'll take that as a yes. Because you asked my older godbrother to give class today, and I'm in an embarrassing situation. So, just curious what happened. Maybe I got stricken from the list because of things I have said. No worries. Just see how Indra, the king of heaven, was creating a disturbance in the midst of the sacrifice by stealing the sacrificial horse. These attractive sinful activities he has introduced will be carried out by the people in general. So, yad yaracharati sheshtas tatad evataro janasya paramanam kurute lokastad anubartate. There's a purport in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada quotes this verse, and he talks about how everyone has their acharyas. Everyone has their acharyas. Their acharati sheshtas, their leaders, great men. This shrestha means great person. Mahajans, that's what he said. That's what actually what he uses in that purport. Everyone's got their Mahajans. We have our Mahajans, our 12 Mahajans, great authorities in devotional service. But in every endeavor and every class of people, they have their Mahajans, the great authorities. In the second canto it says men are like hogs, dogs, camels, and asses, right? They have their Mahajans, their great authorities like that. A big dog. There used to be a store on Garnet Avenue. Big Dog. Right? Remember that? Apparel, Big Dog. So, very attractive. So that's just understood. Everyone needs a leader, right? Everyone rallies around some type of leader like that. The musicians, right? People are attracted to famous musicians or sports people or this, and they identify with them. It's a projection of that person is very famous, and I will dress like them, I'll be like them, I'll support them, I'll give my money, I'll go to the game, I'll root and scream and yell. Right? Whenever there's a big game on the TV, you hear the whole neighborhood going crazy, right? So these are Mahajans, these are great persons in their eyes. These are the great people in their eyes, so that's natural. And according to the modes of material nature, they're Mahajans for ignorance, Mahajans for passion, and Mahajans in goodness. And of course we have the transcendental Mahajans. So that's just the human nature. So in this verse where Lord Brahma is saying these activities, sinful activities, will be attractive. So who's attracted by these sinful activities? It's sinful people. And the general mass of people, or those people who are easily misled. People who, I mentioned that in class last week, that when they interview good thieves, sometimes they'll interview these thieves and write books and so on, they all bring up the same point, that people can't be cheated unless they want to be cheated. Like that. They're weak, and they just want something for nothing. They're easily cheated. They just want something, they want the easy way. So sinful activities, it's kind of just there, and then people, like that. Let's do this. It's like Indra here. What did he do? He stole. Stealing. That's very, very prominent, isn't it? People like stealing things. They steal things. Little things, big things, like that. Taking the possessions of others, not respecting that. And also his disguising himself to be a religious person, and he's not a religious person at all. Disguise himself, hide in the act, like that. So these are sinful activities, and for sinful people, they're very, very attractive, like that. And that's the difficulty of great people in the eyes of society perform these activities, and people follow. Well, he did it, just like Richard Nixon when he got caught. He said, well, every other president doing the same kind of illegal activities. I just got caught. Now, what kind of defense is that? That's called deflection, right? And people say the politicians are amazing people, When you ask them a question, they go, I'm not taking questions now. There's one comedian who was talking about it. He said, I should have tried that in grade school. My teacher goes, hey, Johnny, what's 2 plus 2? Well, I'm not taking questions now. Somehow other politicians can say that, but no one else can, right? If your boss asks you, hey, Glenn, what did you do with so-and-so? I'm not taking questions now. Well, let me ask you a question. Well, that's what they also say. They say, instead of answering, they go, let me ask you a question. Like that. Somehow they get away with it. Like that. So it's pretty amazing, isn't it? They can't be truthful. This is the age of Kali, and people are very, very attracted by these things. So people in these positions, it's very, very dangerous because everyone's looking for an excuse not to be Krishna conscious. They're not to be for an excuse. So I have to be very, 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 very careful. Given the example here, Lord Brahma is very, very wise, and he just caught this. That's why we got to stop the sacrifice, because people start using this as an example and so on. Better just to stop it right here. It's getting out of hand. Indra's getting further and further and further into a place where he shouldn't be for himself. And a horrible example, better just got to stop the whole thing. Sometimes that's better, just stop the whole thing. And Prabhupada gives the example, Lord Buddha. The Vedic injunctions were there, that there were these sacrifices when they're very, very, very powerful sages, and by the chanting of mantra, the mantra was so powerful, even though they sacrificed an animal, right in front of everyone, that animal would come out of the fire in another body. They'd see it. They'd actually see it happen. And then, that wasn't the purpose of the sacrifice. That was just to test the efficacy of the mantra chanting. That wasn't the purpose. Like, let's say I'm hungry, let's have an animal sacrifice. That wasn't what it was, like that. So Lord Buddha, what happened? Of course, at the time, no qualified Brahmins, and people started misusing that just in the name of eating meat and so on. So much violence and so on. And so his preaching was just don't follow that anymore. Don't follow it. Don't follow the Vedas. Be non-violent. Like that. And it's unfortunate even you meet Buddhists who are violent. They've changed that teaching. Their argument is that Lord Buddha said one should become free from any duality. So whatever a person gives you to eat, you accept it. Otherwise there's duality. So if you're begging at a door and they hand you a bowl of meat, you're supposed to accept it. Otherwise there's dualism. What's that all about? Like that. Or they just say, I met some Buddhists, they go, well, we just don't follow that. The main teaching of Buddha was ahimsa. We just don't follow it anymore. So this is the age of Kali. People introduce things, yatamat tatapat. As many people, as many paths. Well, that sounds very attractive. In other words, just do whatever you want to do. Doesn't that sound very spiritual and free? You just do whatever you want to do. No restrictions. Doesn't that seem like the most spiritual path there could possibly be? Instead of all this restriction and everything, you just do what you want to do. What do you think? No, it's ridiculous. And if you raise kids like that, what's going to happen? Or if a teacher has a classroom of kids and says, first day of school, for the next 300 days or whatever, just do whatever you want to do. What are you going to learn in that classroom? I mean, most kids think that way anyways. All the teachers do spend their time trying to get them from thinking like that. To listen to the teacher, you listen to your parents, you listen, because there's an authorized path for achieving anything, So that's the problem. So Lord Buddha, he denied the authority of the Vedas, at least to get them to stop such a ghastly activity as this violence. And so these things aren't recommended in this day and age, as the Prabhupada ends the purport by explaining that. In the age of Kali, these things are not recommended because you don't have the qualified Brahmins. Or just like, why is Ashtanga Yoga not recommended? Because we don't have the bodies and the mind. Don't. When we read about yogis who could sit there, not for 5 or 10 minutes, but for hours and days and weeks, years, long time, thousands of years. Now, what kind of body and mind in previous ages? Because see, it's not the same kind of body. In Kali Yuga, we got like the just horrible, gross, useless body. Previous ages, the bodies were very, very, very powerful. The minds were very, very powerful. So you had the presence of mind to actually just meditate. I heard once someone said that you look at your watch. Man, who has watches anymore? But if you had a watch, you look at it and you watch the second hand go around. If you can concentrate, even for 1 minute, without your mind going anywhere, it's almost impossible. And that's 1 minute, without the mind going anywhere, right? Let alone fixing your mind upon Krishna Narayan for thousands of years. And your body is so powerful that it's undisturbed. There's no pain. And your life airs are there within the bones, within the body. You stop eating. You're actually living on air. Now, who has a body like that? So that in this day and age, you can't practice that kind of yoga and attain perfection. It's for a previous age like that. So, just like therefore that's not recommended, or the big yagyas and so on. That's not recommended because you don't have the Brahmins to do it. And or the big temple worship. All that facility for worshiping deities in such grand opulence and so on, with so many Brahmins. And just like I remember visiting for the first few times those big temples in South India, you could see they're remnants of a previous age. That's what they are. Just remnants of a previous age. In your mind's eye, you're thinking, back maybe a few thousand years ago, hundreds of years ago, 1,000 years ago, the whole place would be filled with all these Brahmins coming and going, all their different sevas and this and that, and it's not like that anymore. It's kind of abandoned and dirty and this and that and what have you. It's remnants of the stone is still there, but where are all the Brahmins? That was from a previous age. So in this day and age, what's recommended is the Sankirtan Yajna. It's the sacrifice that can be performed, I guess you could say easily, as easy as it gets. As easy as it gets. If it's too hard, there's not much we can do for you. Right? It's just like if I'm selling an apple. Trader Joe's, the apples are about 60, 70 cents a piece, right? If I say, here's an apple, it's 1 penny, you go, that's too much. What can I do? That's the best I can do. Actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, just take it. No, I can't take it. He's handing it to you, we can't take it. I mean, how bad is that? Someone's not even charging, but giving freely, and we still don't take it. So that's Kali Yuga. It's kind of rough. But anyways, the Sankirtan Yajna is the yajna which will satisfy the Lord. All these different sacrifices, they're all meant, whatever it may be, is to satisfy the Supreme Lord. Haritosanam. Right? Haritosanam. To satisfy the Supreme Personality of God. That's the purpose of the sacrifice. And in this day and age, the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, that satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when Krishna is satisfied, that's it. That's it. That is that's the perfection. That's what we're after. That's what we're after. That's the highest goal, the highest achievement, aspiration is to please Krishna. And that's the message of Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam, that's the Vaishnava message. The perfection of life, samsadir haritosanam, that Krishna is pleased. Then everything else falls into place. Like that. So, and it's the easiest way. So Prabhupada says people should take advantage of the injunctions of different shastras and not create unnecessary disturbances in the age of Kali. So, and then he gives the example about these Kali worshippers. Sometimes Bengalis will say, have you gone to see the famous Kali temple in Calcutta? Ramakrishna was connected with it. There's a real famous Kali temple there. And that's where they slaughter all the goats, And actually the place has blood actually pouring out of the temple. So no, I haven't been there. I'm not making any plans to go there. I'm sorry. It's a slaughterhouse named as a temple. And they bring all day long. They're just cutting goats and there's blood, just like blood flow. Just like we have Charanamrita. I don't know if they drink that, but it's just like there's blood everywhere. It's a temple and there's blood everywhere. And Prabhupada was pointing out they're very foolish. They're thinking it's the prasad of Kali Mata. But she doesn't touch the thing. She's not going anywhere near it. Because she only takes Lord Shiva's prasad. The story about Narada Muni went to the spiritual world and went to Vaikuntha, and he wanted some prasadam from Narayan because it's not so easy to get. And he served Lakshmi very, very nicely for some time. And then Lakshmi said, "You served me so nicely. Can I get you something?" She goes, "Yes, I'd like some prasad, Narayan prasad." And she was thinking, "Oh, because Narayan told me not to give it out so freely." So she asked Narayan what to do. Narayan said, "Give him some prasad." So he gives some nice Mahaprasad to Narada Muni. He was in ecstasy. So he comes back to this universe eating the Mahaprasad. He's chanting and dancing in great ecstasy, just overwhelmed with ecstatic love. And Lord Shiva, his brother, sees him and says, "Well, what happened to you? Look at you, you're so in ecstasy." He says, "Oh, I got some Mahaprasad from Narayan. And therefore, I'm just feeling so happy." Don't you feel happy after you take prasad? Yeah. So Lord Shiva, as a brother, goes, "You're my brother. Did you save me any?" And Narada Muni goes, "Uh-oh." So I don't think. And he looked under his nail. He had a little bit of Mahaprasadam. So he scraped that out. And he gave it to his brother, and Lord Shiva was in ecstasy. So he took that, like that, and he became ecstatic. Just ecstasy, ecstasy, ecstasy. And then his wife, Kali, Durga, Parvati, she goes, "I'm your wife, you're in such ecstasy, what's going on here?" And he said, "Well, I got a little bit of Mahaprasadam from Narayan, Narada Muni gave me." He said, "Well, I'm your wife, you must have saved me some. I'm the better half." And he was so beside her. I said, "I didn't save a thing. I just had a little bit and didn't save a thing." So she was very sad about that. And that's when she came, right? And that's Samanta Dweep there in Mayapur, right? And she took a vow. She took a vow that she would always make sure there's always a distribution of prasadam. She felt so bad that people would always get Vishnu prasad. So there's no question of eating these kind of things. They just don't. They just don't eat them. So, I mean, the sacrifices are there on a full moon night, a dark moon night. You chant the mantra, "I'm killing you, you get to kill me." It's supposed to be very, very subdued and not that, anytime you want to eat meat, you eat meat. It's only once a month on the dark moon, like that. The sacrifice is done. But she doesn't even touch it. The sacrifice is done, and all these ghosts, that's what bhuta means, pisachas, ghosts, demons, rakshasas, they're there in a subtle form, and they're getting the remnants of that. That's what's going on. So Prabhupada said, these people, they're going home thinking they just got some Kali prasad, but actually they're getting the prasad of ghosts and pisachas and so on. So you know what that means. Just like you eat the prasad of Krishna, you become Krishnized. What happens when you eat the prasad of ghosts and rakshasas? You become, So it's that's what's actually going on. But, like Prabhupada said, sometimes a butcher shop will have a picture of Kali or this or that, and people think, it's Kali Prasad. Just like, you don't see it so much anymore, but in Loy Bazaar, years and years and years ago, people would have a picture of Prabhupada. Like that. So ISKCON devotee, I don't see it so much, a few, but I see it more, No, and the fact that because it's Prabhupada, ISKCON devotees would shop there. Like as if that's a stamp of approval, Get him in, like that. Prabhupada, somehow or other, Prabhupada's picture's there, it must mean it's good for ISKCON devotees. Whether it is or isn't, doesn't matter, So this kind of, what you call it, cheating is going on. This Kali worship and this and that. So this is age of the Kali. People are being cheated. It's the age of Kali. People are being cheated. And as far as religious performances, people are being cheated. Like that. Whether you want east or west. Like that. Anything outside of pure devotional service is actually a form of cheating when it comes to spirituality. It's a form of cheating. We're being denied what we really should be getting. That's cheating. Like that. What cheating is, I pay you some money. Just like give an example, I know someone, they went to Loy Bazaar. And the person said they're selling them a silk sari. Right? So then they get back to the ashram and showed the other Matajis, and they said, that's not silk at all. It was art silk, which is jute. And the man said silk, and he charged a substantial amount for it. So she went back the next day, went to the man, very upset, and said, "This isn't silk. You cheated me." And in the expert Indian way, he said, "Call me what you like, but do not call me a cheater." He said, "Please, call me what you like, but never call me a cheater." He said, "But you charge me the full amount for silk, but this isn't silk. It is art silk." He said, he said, "Whatever you do," he got very upset, "do not call me a cheater." Well, what do you call someone who sells you something, charges you, $50 for something that's supposed to be 10? What do you call a person like that? Right? Maybe you call him a cheater. And then he took it back. He took it back and like that, whatever. It's just like, actually, last time I was there in Loy Bazaar, we got these stainless steel. I brought some brass ones. About 2 years ago, I was there in Loy Bazaar. I went in, I was looking at something, because I saw in Mayapur those nice brass things for washing the conch shells. So I went into the store. It was early in the morning. And I started asking different prices and so on. And, some were so good. And then I got this really nice one that I eventually brought back. And then he goes, this much rupees. And I say, "Oh, okay. And then all of a sudden I started thinking, wait a second, that's like $70 for a pot. And I said, whoa, hold on. I said, you're doing the math in my mind, 50, and I said, that's too much. I said, "It's not my money." He said, "It's the temple's money. I can't. I just don't think that's right." And he goes, he said, and I said, "Here, take it back." He goes, no. And then he brought it down a little bit, like to $60. He said, no. And I going back and forth. And he goes, "You are the first person of the day to buy something from me, so I cannot give it back to you. I cannot take the pot back." I said, "What's going on here?" That's what he said. He got me. So, he said, "I can't give it back." Well, he already had the money. See, he already had so he's putting it back. He took it. It was just there, and I said, within moments, I just, wait a second, that's $70. So they started peeling it off, back and forth, and I was arguing. And that was his argument. He said, "I cannot break this sale because you are the first person of the day. It'd be bad luck." And I was thinking in my mind, it's pretty bad luck right now. Taking Krishna's money, it's like $70 for a brass pot. So we got it down to like 25 or something like that. And I was calculating, that's okay, because in Mayapur I got another pot, maybe. But I thought it was interesting. He said, "I cannot give it back to you. You're the first customer of the day." So, anyways, we worked it out. It was a little bit of an intense moment there. But you don't want to offend the Brajbasis. But it's quite interesting. So, it's the age of Kali. Things are interesting. One has to be very, very careful. The age of Kali. That's right, the clock's over there. I'm sorry, I went way over time. So we can end here. I'm sure everyone is just like on the edge of their asanas with questions and comments, anything. You have the microphone there. You prepared for the class, so you probably...
She heard Lord Shiva chanting Gauranga, and he was in extreme ecstasy. Okay. And so I've heard you chant Ram, heard you chant the names of the Lord, but I've never heard you chant Gauranga's names. Please tell me, who is Gauranga? What is the process you're following? And so then she went to Mayapur and worshipped Lord Chaitanya and got the mercy. But I have heard that the connection to her being upset that Lord Shiva, her husband, didn't give her any Mahaprasad is with Bimala at Jagannath Puri.
Okay.
Like Lord Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is named Bimala Prasad. Mm-hmm. So you probably know better than I, but the tradition in Jagannath Temple is that after the Lord, Jagannath is offered the prasadam, and all that maha goes first to Bimala. She got the benediction. That was her desire. She takes the Mahaprasadam. It becomes Mahaprasadam, and then it's distributed to everybody else. And she took a vow that you didn't let me have, but I will see that everyone, Shudras, women, unqualified, untouchable, everyone will be allowed to take the Mahaprasadam of the Lord.
That's it. Just do Bimala Prasadam Puri. Yeah, just distribute Prasadam to everyone. Okay. Anything else?
I've got a really interesting one. You won't find this in Srila Prabhupada's book, so right there you can put your walls up if you want. But his sannyas guru, Pragya Keshava Maharaj, wrote a series of articles that were published in the time of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur being on the planet in one of his periodicals about the origin and the history of Mayavad. And in that series of articles, which then later got put into a book, they all said, you got to put this in the book. This is unbelievable. And it's a fantastic book. You want to read the history of Mayavad and throughout all the ages and what have you. But interestingly enough, he quotes scripture. For us, they would be remote and not known scriptures, but he quotes scriptures that claim that Lord Buddha would never decry the Vedas, that the Vishnu Buddha incarnation, he came and he practiced Sanatana Dharma. But another incarnation, another Buddha, and he said one was born in Gaya and one was born up in Kashmir or something like that. He said that second Buddha is the one who decried the Vedas, and the good result of it is that animals were saved and people were saved from the sinful activities. But two Buddhas, he said. And that second Buddha is basically where Shankaracharya got the philosophy of Mayavad, because to say Brahman is without qualities, without variety, without anything, that's basically saying the void. Mm-hmm. Nothing is nothing, and they're saying, well, it's nothing, but it's just covered Buddhism, as Srila Prabhupada said. So anyway, very interesting. If you've read all Prabhupada's books and you get a chance to read that book, it's really very enlightening. Very good book.
Yeah, there's even the story of the original jinn of the Jain religion, and another one. They actually were manifested from the body of Vishnu. Jainism and...
Are you talking about Rishabdev? Prabhupada in the Bhagavatam says that the Jains took after him, although he's not
but Bhaktivedanta Maharaj in one class was explaining this. Because what it was to bewilder the demons. It had to do with that a pastime of the demons becoming Bali Maharaj and become very, very strong and so on. Because one was the jinn, the Jains, because their philosophy is kind of like whatever. There's some saying they have. It's almost like whatever.
Wow.
And to stop them from their jugyas and this and that, but it manifests. So there's an origin of way back. You know, of these different deviant paths for a particular reason and so on. And so, like you're saying, the Buddha. Okay.
You touched on in your class all these Kaitava dharmas, cheating religions, which the Bhagavatam completely kicks out. But in the 6th canto, Yamaraj describes, and in Krishna and the Bhagavad Gita, same thing, that they're all under the influence of the modes of nature. And you implied in that direction during your class, the mode of goodness, you worship demigods; mode of passion, you worship demons; mode of ignorance, you worship ghosts and vishashas and stuff like that. So only in Krishna consciousness is it transcendental. That type of religion can only come from Krishna and repeated by his pure devotees. It's not of this world, it's descending.
Yeah. And one last thing is that caught my attention right when I read the verse was this Hari Bihi, which means very attractive to the heart. The different modes of nature, you're attracted to different things. So some are sinful activities, and the Kali Yuga stuff is like really attractive. So we have to present Krishna consciousness in such a way that's in a pure form, because it's all attractive. It's really attractive, and it actually is attractive to the soul. That's what captures people. It's not dependent on anything. Otherwise, how could the movement spread all over the world? It actually is attractive to the soul. So Krishna is more attractive than Maya. Just like the shadow, the substance is more attractive than the shadow. So the shadow may look pretty nice, but the real thing is even, just like if you have samosas are today, right? So if you're holding a samosa and there's a shadow of a samosa, look at it nicely, how Mahabharata did the curls on the edges and so on. But what can you really see and enjoy in a shadow of a samosa compared to the real samosa? There's no taste, there's no, right? But you touch it. So, all of this may be very attractive, but it's the shadow. So we have to present the real thing to people, and they'll be automatically attracted. So we have to make our presentation of Krishna consciousness very, very attractive. We have to become attractive ourselves by being Krishna conscious, and make our presentation very attractive. Because otherwise, they're thinking that everything's fine. They got their groove on. What do they say that anymore or something? They got their something on. Is that word? They got their groove on. Is that old-fashioned even to say that? We're dating ourselves. They got their groove on. What do you say now? No, groove. You got your groove on or something like that. What do they say now when you got it all together? What's the term? I guess you never had your groove on, Prabhu, or whatever. You just got it all together. Everyone's got their own thing. They got their what they consider to be attractive and nice, but unfortunately, it's leading them in the wrong direction. Everything's cool. All right, everything's cool. Right, but it's not. It really isn't. So we have to present Krishna consciousness in such a way where they're attracted, and they start practicing it like that. And then these things no longer are very attractive. You run away from them. That's when one becomes purified in goodness and transcendental, one runs away from these things. Like that. It's like but Bhaktivinoda Thakur says he never ever went to a public theater or any of those kinds of things. Just like never. His foot would never step into those such places. Just unattractive. Just stay away from those places. So one stays away from all the influences of Kali Yuga. No attraction whatsoever. So we can end here and see what's for breakfast. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Damodar Mas ki jai.